When I was a senior in the bioengineering capstone class, my team worked on producing a device that improved the self-catheterization process for women with neurogenic urinary incontinence. Our process started with a clinical vignette that detailed the story of a young woman with a congenital spinal cord defect. One of the complications of her condition was her lack of bladder control, also known as urinary incontinence. Women with urinary incontinence have to self-catheterize several times a day in order to void their bladder, and this can be a difficult and error-prone process. When my team started this process, we didn't know anything about self-catheterization, so we wanted to really understand what exactly about this process made it so difficult. In order to do that, we consulted with our physician mentor, a urologist at Stanford. In his experience, he observed that the step that women have the most difficulty with when they're learning self-catheterization is locating their urethra. This was a really valuable insight for my team, but we wanted to make sure that this was a problem that existed outside of one physician's experience at Stanford Urology. In order to do that, we first delved into the literature, but we saw that there were no publications that really detailed the experience of self-catheterization. We created a survey that detailed each step of the self-catheterization process, and we asked survey participants to rate each step's relative difficulty. Since we were collecting potentially sensitive data, we reached out to the Stanford IRB to make sure that we were acting according to their regulations. The IRB took a look at our survey and gave us an exemption. And after that, we were able to distribute our survey online to different support groups for women with urinary incontinence. We gained over 50 responses, and one of the most valuable insights from our survey was that locating the urethra was in fact one of the most difficult steps in the self-catheterization process. In addition to that, our survey participants reported a high number of urinary tract infections that often resulted in hospitalization. So at this point, with the data we collected from our survey participants, we were confident that we were addressing a real unmet clinical need.